In our culture, everything is based on success. But what is success? Who defined it? Who decided that success was the goal instead of fulfillment? What happens if we shake up that definition? What if we make our own definition of success? My name is Tony Grebmeyer, and on this podcast, I'm going to dig deep into the real stories behind success. Join me as I interview other entrepreneurs who've climbed up Success Mountain and have come back down to share their stories so you can succeed. If you're ready to join a community of other entrepreneurs redefining success and finding fulfillment, go to BeFulfilledLife.com and join the community. Now, let's dive into today's show.
Welcome to Be Fulfilled. It is the real stories behind success. I'll be your host and Sherpa up and down Success Mountain today, Tony Grebmeyer. Glad to have you here, locked and loaded, ready to go. I got just an all-around great guy and a guest for you guys today on the show. I happened to meet our guest, I'd say about 5-6 years ago, from just kind of knowing the person from the industry, but also hearing this person speak. You know, he's just got a big heart. He's ready to give back today. He is a leader in the printing, media, and fulfillment industries with over 40 years of experience. Some of his clients include entrepreneurs, authors, speakers, thought leaders on a mission to impact the world. And I promise you, if you listen to this show, you have picked up something that Joe has definitely been a part of and printed and made an impact in some form or fashion to deliver fulfillment. So please welcome today the CEO of Disc.com, Joe Foley. How are you, my friend?
Hi, Tony. I'm super excited to be here.
Well, man, thank you so much for saying yes to a podcast. I mean, we were chatting a couple of weeks back and I just wanted to make sure that you know that I've got a platform for you to share your message a little bit, your mission with the world, but just the overall cool guy that you are, I was honored. And so I know you've listened to some shows before, so you know what's coming next. What is your definition of success?
Well, I'm kind of a very simple guy from the Midwest. And when I think of success, to me, that's all just serving your family, your clients, your community. That's all I really care about. That's where I get my happiness, is the feeling you get after you do a job and you do it well and you're serving somebody else. Because I've been in the service business my entire life. So that's how
When you were growing up, what kind of jobs did you hold as a young boy, kind of growing up in life?
I did the newspapers, the cutting the lawns, the shoveling snow. But two of my coolest jobs were I got to work at this place that had cool concerts. And I showed up the first day and the lady said, "Joe, I like you. Could you bring me 10 guys like you next Friday for the next concert?" I said, "Sure." So I became like a little leader of the concert tour. And then I went to work at a catering place out at Notre Dame because I grew up close to the university there. And they catered big events. And the same thing happened over there. This Italian lady says, "Joe Foley, I like you, boy. Bring me 8 more boys next Tuesday." And I go, "Okay." So I became a little leader in high school, and I just love working.
No, it's a pretty special trait. I don't know if it has necessarily something to do with being an entrepreneur, but there's something in us, and I relate really, really well to what you're talking about, where it's kind of like, what's next? Sure. And it's a lot less. My son's been picking this up and saying this a lot. And so I've been using it in kind of some of my talks is, say yes until it makes sense to say no.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you said yes to the right things along your journey to kind of then get you to launch a very successful fulfillment company. Long before I got started myself, I knew about Disc. Would you talk a little bit about Disc.com and a little bit about what you guys do and maybe some of the clients you serve?
Okay. Well, what's weird is I didn't launch Disc. I went to work for him as an employee. I was a printing salesman, and these two young guys that started the company were my customer, and they kept answering the phone, and somebody would say, hey, do you guys do binders? And then they would call me up and say, "Hey, Joe, do we do binders?" And I said, "Yes, we do." And then the customer would ask, do we do boxes? And they would call me up and say, yes, we do. And then before you know it, I went to work for them. And I worked my way up over the years with my current partner. Both of us have been there for 30 years. And we became the most valuable players. And now we're the owners. And the original guys are long retired. But it's been crazy, Tony. We went from diskettes before the internet. And then somebody said on the phone, do you guys make copies of diskettes? And we said, no, we don't. But then luckily somebody called later and said, do you guys want to buy a disk duplication machine? And we go, yeah, hey, a customer was asking about that. So we bought one of those. And then 200 machines later, we were doing computer software. Every time Windows would change from, say, like Windows 3.1 to 3.11, every software developer in the world had to update their software. So it was a fast growing time. That's when we learned how to print books, because they used to have the user manuals and the getting started guides and stuff. But then the internet came. Holy cow, everything changed. So you know how people were talking about pivoting in the last year? We've been pivoting for 37 years now, because the marketplace just keeps changing. So we keep adapting to what our customers are asking for.
Well, that's a powerful piece of information and insight for anybody listening and taking notes today is, you can either, dictate what you want, but you probably are not going to last for very long. But if you're open-minded to what your customers are suggesting and they keep coming to you and asking, and you're like, hey, let me look into it. And I loved how they would call you and say, hey, Joe, do we do this? And you're like, yep. And then you'd be like, oh, wow. Like, what else can we do? And I know that's one thing that we've adjusted over the years. Pivot's a great word too. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean that you totally escape from where you're at and run to something completely different. You're just seeing what opportunities exist kind of in that same landscape.
Right.
When you think back, like on, your time, 30 plus years, your business partner and stuff, and what are some valuable lessons that you've personally taken away from the kind of your growth at DISC?
Well, I know being, like how cool being a dad is and a spouse. Well, then when you lead a company and you have, 80 families or 120 families that care about you and depend on you and depend on their livelihood, it's just a lot of responsibility, but a lot of joy comes with it too. And it feels pretty good, when Christmas time comes and everybody's got their bonuses and they're all home and happy families. And it's great to be growing every year without, having setbacks or layoffs. And we definitely learned a lot from our customers too. We've been blessed by having some really great customers find us. And that's our secret sauce has been getting referrals, because we've never were very smart at marketing. We didn't know how to do all the fancy stuff that's out there today. We just count on the people to like their experience and tell somebody else to, call up DISC. We used to have this.
That's the gift right there. Don't skip that, Joe. That's the gift. We got a chance to meet at Joe Polish's Genius Network. That's where you and I would be in a mastermind together. And I got to just listen to you. Don't discount that. Like, that has taken a lot of years. That's your reputation. That's consistent. That's hard work. That's helping a lot of people to be happy with their work and then go out there and then for them to referral back to you. That right there is affiliate marketing 101. Do good, be awesome, and people will keep coming and buying what you've got and then figuring out how they can refer friends to you. That's like, don't skip that secret sauce today, Joe.
Yeah, no, that's good stuff. I know what's cool is then good people refer other good people to you. So you end up collecting like a great group of clients. Like we feel good. I always tease once you become a client, you're never gonna leave. You're here. You're part of the family.
No, I like it. So you mentioned a little bit family man. You got kids?
Yeah, two beautiful daughters and a lovely wife. So
How long you been married?
about 12 years.
That is very cool.
Yeah.
It's such an important thing for, I was just talking to somebody this morning about when I get off of the office and I drive home, it's neat to know my wife's there, and it's just nice to know to come home to something and someone who just, has, been my best friend for a long period of time. But in this kind of season I'm in right now with the transition kind of from the suburbs to living out in the country, it's just her and we just spend so much great quality time together. And so our evenings are, spent playing Skippo or watching a series on Netflix together, or just hanging out, reading a book or whatever, and just chilling. And it's amazing. When I was in my 20s, I was always been a workaholic. I think I've always been a workaholic for as long. But man, it was just like I didn't appreciate the relationship as much as I appreciate the relationship today. When you get home at night, what's your kind of evening routine for you?
Well, my dad, when I was a kid, he was home at 5:30 and he never went out with the boys. He was like, even though it was a long time ago. So that's the kind of dad I like to be. As soon as I get home, we eat as a family and we hang out as a family. Lately, I've been outside with my daughter every evening. She's 12. We're shooting baskets, throwing the football around. She's doing cartwheels and I'm standing around smiling. And that's every night, but it's awesome. And then on the weekends, I love the bike riding and stuff like that.
Well, man, what I want to do really quick is I want to take a quick break. We're going to come back today. Our special guest, Joe Foley over at disc.com. He is the CEO and just an all-around great guy. Part of some of the biggest kind of brands I know on the planet, printing some stuff, fulfilling some stuff, making fulfillment happen for a lot of happy customers. Somebody who I've gotten to know over the years, just show up at an event, always smiling, seeing him. His name pops up in a lot of the similar circles. And we had a conversation a couple of weeks ago, just two guys, two fulfillment companies, had a conversation, and now we're podcasting together. And life really is about just kind of letting go of whatever you hold on to and see how you can be of service. How can I offer, any assistance to Joe and not need anything in return? That's really become kind of the beginning of our friendship and just getting to know each other a little bit deeper. And the relationship gets to grow today on a podcast. So I hope you stick around. We'll be right back with our special guest today, CEO of disc.com, Joe Foley. My name is Tony Grebmeyer, and this is the Be Fulfilled Podcast Show.
Are you ready to break the mold? So many people seem stuck in society, but you're not one of them. If you were, you wouldn't be listening to this. And I know for a fact that right here, right now, inside you, there's greatness. And a great way to help bring that out is the 12-week journey to fulfillment. So head over to BeFulfilledJournal.com and use the coupon code podcast, and you get a special rate on us. It's our way to say thanks for listening. As well, there's access to a private community of entrepreneurs ready to support you and your business. That's BeFulfilledJournal.com.
Hey, we are back on the Be Fulfilled Podcast Show. My name is Tony Grebmeyer, up and down Success Mountain, just getting warmed up with our special guest today, Joe Foley over at disc.com. He's the CEO. I got to tell you, Joe, just listening to you, I love what I've heard, but I know that deep down inside, I think being that devoted family man, but also kind of having that model growing up too. You said right before the break, dad home by 5:30, didn't go out with the boys, made you guys a priority. And then hearing you hanging out with your daughter, she's doing cartwheels and you're just laughing, having a good time, smiling, throwing the football, shooting hoops or whatever it may be. That is not something that most people make time for. And I just want to just love on you for a moment. My old neighbor, Todd McGuire, says, my job is to make sure that I get like 5 to 10 minutes with each of my kids a day, separate from the other one, so I can just really have some one-on-one time. What are your thoughts around that?
Oh, that makes total sense. When my growing up in my family, I had 3 sisters, so it was like having 4 moms, and dad was a tough guy. But when I became a parent, I decided, heck, he was like, kind of the old fashioned military dude. And I wanted to be a little more of a hugger, a little more easygoing. So I've always made it a mission of mine to make it so my daughters would want to talk to me and share stuff. And I always thought my job was to inspire them a little bit. I let mom take care of all the other important things, but I wanted to be the kind of the mojo for them. And so I love checking in with them.
You get to print a lot, you get to do a lot. Has there been any kind of brands that have crossed your kind of plate over the years? You can mention names, don't mention names. It really just had a big impact. Like you actually pick it up, you look through it and you're like, wow, this has really helped you to kind of maybe change part of the mindset and help you to really maybe change some routines in your life.
Oh, positively, I've been blessed by the types of clients I've had, and I've learned a lot. A long time ago, we had the old hero Earl Nightingale and Vic Conant. So that was kind of my first exposure to personal development and stuff. And then there was this other company that called Successories. They used to have the motivational posters that were all over corporate America. And he started this company called Simple Truth. So it was a book with a DVD in the back. So I love that kind of content. But I'd say my hero was Brendan Bouchard. I met him in 2008, and we started shipping all his books and doing all of his programs and stuff back when it was physical products. And now we ship his supplements and planner. But his books and his message have really made a difference in my life. And I'm super grateful. I was a little bit like you when I was younger, working too hard. And then personally, before I was married, I liked to play a little too hard. So I would go from a super long day at work to front row at any sporting event I could get at, any concert, any ski trip. Anybody wants to do anything, I was number one in line. But now I'm all about being a dad, and I like sleeping through the night and staying healthy.
There's nothing better than actually sleeping through the night, waking up to live another day. And hey, I can relate to all that. My 20s could have been titled Fast and Furious, and now they're more like the TV show The Ranch, just chill, and I'm trying to enjoy a little bit, just kind of the slowing down. And I really appreciate you talking about Brendan Bouchard and just sharing kind of the planner, the supplements and the things. But I really love the fact that you said in the beginning, it was some of that Earl Nightingale stuff, because that's really what helped me to get into like personal development. Hearing, it's funny, like you'll relate, but some people listening today go, what's an LP? What's an 8-track? What's a little mini disc? What does a cassette look like? But that's how I listened to my stuff growing up. You remember Columbia House? You could get a penny, you could get those CDs back in the day. I would have loved to know what personal development was like back then, like how it was consumed and how people got it, because I really believe it would be somebody handing you, a reel-to-reel or a cassette tape and say, listen to what my friend just gave me. He recorded this. Check it out. Like, you remember those days? Do you remember when you wanted that?
I sure do. And some of those old messages still are just as rock solid as they are today. Although I just love personal development. I love your journal and your podcast, my friend. You are going to, the kind of guests that you get on, except for me, you have some really brilliant, talented people on there. And it seems like you're really attracting some great people. So
well, man, I'm honored to have you. And I know that we were talking a little bit before, and I said, have you been on some podcasts? And you said, yes. I said, my job for every guest who comes on is to leave them better than I found them. And, I just want to say thank you. I know we can drive people to dis.com, and I know that's awesome. But what I have is called the fulfillment round. And that is a bunch of random questions for anybody out there who's worked with you, followed you, or getting to know you. These are questions that I want to ask that will give us some more insight into just who you are. So, Joe, all I need from you is I am ready, and we'll bring you into today's fulfillment round.
I'm ready.
And now it's time for the fulfillment round. No phoning friend, no using the Google machine, no digging into storage for the Encyclopedia Britannicas. And I promise Tony won't make you cry. And if you don't know the answer, just make it up. The fulfillment round brought to you by shipoffers.com for all your product and fulfillment needs. Now, Tony, you ready to ask some questions?
All right. Your very first position at dis.com, what'd you do?
I was called the print manager. So
You went from nothing to a print manager there?
Yeah, but it was a print manager, but I was really a print broker because we didn't have anything really to manage. So I would just handle all the printing projects. So outsource them to local companies. Eventually, we got some printing presses and then the digital machines and stuff. But that's how I got started. But I ended up talking to every customer that had a printing project. So then I kind of grew into the sales and customer service area. So that's when I became nuts about the client experience.
Man, I like that a lot. Also, a question, you said sporting events. Let's talk sports. Where would I catch you if it was 10, 15 years ago? And are you a basketball, baseball, football? What are you into?
Well, my number one most fun sport I would love to go to is hockey. I love that. And I love football for being a spectator. Those are my two kind of go-to sports. For actually having fun and doing it myself, I like skiing. That's really the only sport that I'm any good at. Everything else is very marginal. Like when I was a kid, I might have been the one that might have got picked towards the end, possibly the last one picked.
But now look at you, right?
Yeah.
I actually I remember as a kid, because I was probably in your boat in a lot of ways. Like I grew 6 inches, 6th grade into 7th.
Yeah.
So I was, that would mean today, that would mean I would only be 6 foot. I'm 6'6". So like the height helps. And you're tall too.
Yeah.
When you go to a sporting event, like you said, hockey or football. So does that mean that you're a Bears fan and a Blackhawks fan?
That's right. I keep it kind of simple, and Notre Dame fan because I grew up across the street, so I could hear the games from my backyard. Growing up, so I went out there and hawking programs and that kind of stuff. We couldn't afford tickets, or I couldn't go to school there, but it was sure like whenever it was pouring rain, a ticket would come my way. If it was cold and nasty, I could get in there.
I do have to ask, because you're a Chicago area guy, just what it was like back in the day when Michael Jordan and all that was going on. Was there a different type of buzz? I know you had the Bears and you had a Super Bowl, I think in the 80s sometime, but What was it like being around with the Michael Jordan era?
Well, it's kind of fun to be around a winner. So, especially like for me, I was so incredibly average or below average in sports. And it's super exciting to be around somebody that's so special, like a Michael Jordan or a Tiger Woods, or those people that are just amazing. It's pretty cool feeling.
When you getting up early in the morning, you have a routine, because I got to imagine with all of these people around you that you've had a chance to get to rub elbows with, they've got to rub off some kind of, I know you mentioned Brendan Bouchard and he's got a journal and a system, but what is something that you do that has really found success in your life in the morning?
Well, I have been learning about having routines and stuff for so long. I had a client called Evan Pagan. He had a program super long time ago called Wake Up Productive. And, it had you getting up early, everything from, brushing your teeth right away. I have so many things I do. The protein shake. I have like a little supplement drink. One of my friends has instant clarity. I drink that. Then I have my, currently the biggest thing I'm into is that it's called a heart rate monitor, where you monitor your heart rate variability. So you do like this breathing sequence, and that lasts about 20 minutes. That keeps you pretty chill. Of course, I have some prayer time right when I wake up. I'm happy to be alive, blessed to be on this earth and have a chance to serve and do that. I like to read a little bit, not much though. I'm talking maybe 10 minutes just to say I did it. And then I exercise, and then I race off to work.
Man, I got to tell you, it's just an absolute honor to have you here today. Last question for you. If I was coming to town, and we were talking about it a little bit earlier today before the show started, and we were going to go out and enjoy some food, type of food and restaurant you'd take me to?
Well, I have a favorite right now. It's a chain. It's called Cooper's Hawk. And they have a super nice menu, great atmosphere. And I think you and I spending time together, I don't think it would matter where we were at or what we were doing. We could be on a card table chair and it could be as special. Doesn't really matter what restaurant we're at.
Man, I just got to say thank you so much for showing up today. I'm going to drive people over to disc.com. That's Joe right there. My name's Tony Grebmeyer. And man, it was an absolute honor to have you on the show. Thanks for showing up the way you do. Keep loving on the family the way you do. And I really just want to say it was an absolute just gift to have you today. So guys, that's Joe Foley. My name's Tony Grebmeyer. And until next time, no matter where you go, no matter what you do, choose to make today the absolute best day of your life.
Thanks for listening to today's show. But before you go, let me ask you a question. How would you like to be the architect of your journey in this game we call life? Take the next step now at www.tonygrebmeyer.com. Enter your details to get the first week of the Be Fulfilled Journal for free. It includes access to our private community of thousands of other entrepreneurs. It'll give you more clarity and freedom in your day. And it might just change your life forever.